Hello, it's Philip Taylor speaking from Richmond Green Chambers. I'm looking at this book, blue cover, The Law of Public Order and Protest, Oxford University Press. It's by His Honour Judge Peter Thornton, Queen's Counsel, with a team of writers, Ruth, Richard Thomas, David Rhodes, Mike Schwarz and Edward Rees, Queen's Counsel. This is the book. It's about 450 pages long, short index at the back, useful numbering at the sides again, paragraph numbering, lots of footnotes, which many of you will be pleased to hear about, and a good index and straightforward statement at the front, which of course is very much in tune with OUP publications. It's another gem of a book from OUP. My wife and I have written a review of this book, and we've given it the title, Fond of Protest? You're not alone, but be warned. There might be a law against it. And of course we have this problem of balancing all sorts of rights in the early part of the 21st century. This is what we say. You're not a lawyer? Don't worry. You'll find this readable and scholarly volume by Peter Thornton, Queen's Counsel, and his team a topical and fascinating read. If you are a lawyer, run out and buy this today. You never know in this turbulent age of protest and dissent when you're going to need it. It's an account of public order law, illuminating, informative and carefully structured for ease of use. Public order, as pointed out in the preface, is generally reactive, reacting or responding to problems of disorder and violent unrest which have recently occurred. And examples, of course, stretch back in memorable history. Fascist marches of the 30s, the Southall riots of 79, the Brixton disorders of 81, the poll tax arguments of 1990, probably some of the most serious we've seen in many centuries, and so on. Also, of course, there have been protests against wars from Vietnam to Iraq, Afghanistan and, of course, Gaza. Whether you therefore agree or disagree with whatever contentious issue is being protested about, protest nonetheless remains an option, an avenue of communication, if you like, and in a democratic society, an inalienable right. The lifeblood of democracy, a senior judge has called it. Protest, of course, occurs at local level too. We can think of many, I'm sure, if we're local councils or politicians, and of course also as advocates. Usually it's about creeping urban blight, daft planning decisions and perceived threats to health from everything from big ugly buildings designed by famous architects, no names mentioned, to mobile phone masts, airport expansions, intrusive motorways and a host of other causes. Since Peter Thornton wrote Public Order Law in 1987, an amazing number of new public order measures have been created to a considerable extent brought about by the phenomenon of burgeoning terrorism. Of course, that is an issue which is very important at the moment. Quote, "There is a trend driven by political will," warns the author, "to keep making more law without codification of apparent thought for the adequacy of existing powers." The primary aim of the book, which it accomplishes admirably in our view, is to guide the lawyer, student and citizen through the maze. And a maze it certainly is, although note that from January 2010, the publication date of this book, it precedes the UK's general election of the 6th of May. Obviously there has been a change, and the new coalition now in power will no doubt review much of the legislation that we have. So watch out for changes here in response to continuing events. Areas covered in the book, of course, deal with the main legislation itself, the Public Order Act 1986, and looks at things like processions, assemblies, meetings, police powers, arrest, detention, punishment, and, of course, human rights. We don't know where we are at the moment with the new coalition on the Human Rights Act, but we will be told, I am sure. In all, therefore, you have the benefit of over 500 effective pages of useful data, including a table of contents, statutes and so forth. In fact, it has here all the resources you need to guide you through this fascinating and complex area of law, and I'm very grateful to have it as a person who's both an advocate and a politician. So thank you, Judge Thornton and your team. Bye-bye.